Today we'll be going for a cruise up the River Fowey aboard the steam launch Gallant. You can see a picture of the launch. It's probably about 28 foot long, 6 or so seats in the front and 6 in the back, and one for the captain. And then we're just backing out of the dock now in the town quay. Clive is the guy who owns the steam launch and is actually sort of keeping it running in fine fettle. And I must say, when we set off, it was surprising how quiet it was. We're used to sort of the diesel engines, and you get the rumble from those, whereas this sounded very much like a well-oiled sewing machine, if you pardon the expression. But yeah, here we go. We're heading upstream. The Fowey town is on our left. Interesting, Fowey's town is just sort of like 2 rows of houses, one on each side. You tend to think of there being more houses behind, but the actual town, as it sort of heads north, dissipates down to just 2 lines of houses, really. Up in the distance there, you can see the RNLI lifeboat. Fowey has a lifeboat on standby there. As we get a bit closer, you'll see it in greater detail. It's always surprising how many people are actually on the river. It's quite busy. There it is, the lifeboat in a bit more detail. You can just see the river bending slightly to the left now. The RNI also have a shop there as well, which is sells little knickknacks and helps to bring in a few funds for the volunteer crews. And now we're sort of pointing the boat upstream, heading towards the Bodinnick Ferry area. And oh, they've got a little sailboat cutting across. As I say, it's always busy on the river. It's always sort of interesting what people do. I think that one's got a group of school kids on it. I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll get a bit of a closer look. I think it's heading upstream, so we'll probably pass them on the way back down. And there's Clive just pointing out on the Bodinnick side. You've got the Daphne du Maurier house. The area is famous for that house. There it is, the double-fronted building there. I think that's still in the family now. There also used to be, many years gone by, used to be a boatyard there, and a sort of ferry as well. But obviously the boatyard's gone, and now we've just got the car ferry, which runs pretty much throughout the year. In the background, there's a few houses there, and if you headed up that hill and took a right turn halfway up, you'd be on the Hall's Walk, which is another video that we've been doing. Just over there in the distance, you can see the ferry, the Bodinnick Ferry. I think it's either offloading or loading up and waiting for a few extra fares. So that operates pretty much throughout the year. And as we pass on and sort of start heading upstream, we'll be heading into the area of the clay docks. As you can see, the colour of the water there was lovely on the day we made this video, and the temperature was great as well. And there it is, the little 2-cylinder steam engine puffing away there. As I say, very quiet. Most sort of civilised journey, if I'm honest. This is a building you can see from the Bodinnick Ferry, but you can't actually see what's around the other side of that front wall there. This is just have a quick look at it, and like many other buildings on there, it's actually a small boatyard. Off there to the left, you can just see the start of the clay workings, or not the workings, the actual dock part. Just in the corner behind it, there's the sheds of the next part, which is around the corner where the bigger ships also pull up. There's some lovely boats on this river. As we reach the corner, you'll see, just as we come round the bend in the river to the left, you'll see 2 boats that are actually in the dockside area. One of them actually being loaded up. It's quite surprising the size of the vessels that actually make it up this far up the river. One of the ones that's actually in the dock being loaded, you'll see in a minute, has to come in and sort of turn around just by the town quay area, then heads up the river in reverse. Basically, I think there's not enough water in this area to actually turn the ship around. The other ones, if they're smaller, can actually make it up and turn around up here and more up there. The ships are just to the left of that red tug there. There we go, another view of them. You can see the workings of the conveyors there. The clay actually arrives on train and is offloaded onto the conveyor system in those sheds, and then onto the ships, which obviously head off across the different parts of the world. Doesn't actually look like we're moving, but we are. We're still heading upstream, but just beyond that ship there, the river takes a turn to the right and heads off up towards a small town called Lostwithiel. From there, the river becomes a little bit less navigable. There's only really small ships, say small boats, pleasure craft, etc. that can actually sort of get up the river beyond this point. Having said that, Lostwithiel was actually quite an important port many years ago, so there were large vessels, but not quite something on the scale of these that used to actually get to Lostwithiel. A vessel here, I think, is probably around the between the 7 to 10,000 tons. So when it's fully loaded, it is quite a lump to move. When you see them actually going out, you'll find the pilots on board. There's a pilot boat, usually runs very close to it, along with the harbour master as well, try and keep the way clear so that nobody gets up in any tangles. You can see there's actually riding quite high. There's quite a lot of the red freeboard there visible, and there's Clive actually sort of telling us a little bit about the river as it heads up to Lostwithiel. He's just turning us around, and we cut around the back of the Munzer, I believe that's the name. Yep, that's a Panama registered vessel. You can see it's quite a sizable vessel, and to navigate the narrow channel is actually probably quite a task. You certainly won't want to get in that way, the way of that vessel when it's fully laden. And equally, the vessel wouldn't be able to stop anyway with that kind of load on board. So here we go. We're heading just past the dock there and just sort of taking a turn to the right now. You just see in the distance there the little houses of Fowey beginning to appear. We're just going to go past a couple of seagulls there. They seem to be larger than the ones that tend to hang around the town. I think they're black-backed gulls or something similar of a name like that. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. As we head down, you'll see a ferry parked up on the left there. There's not actually a one that's broken down. What happens is, as one needs service or whatever, that'll go into the yard over in Polruan side, and then they'll swap over and use that one, so it keeps the service going. There are quite a lot of people who travel on that ferry throughout the year for commuting purposes, because it cuts off quite a good few miles as a round trip if you had to do it. I think it's about £3 or £4 to get a car across there, and saves you a good half an hour or so driving around. As we head down, you can catch a glimpse of the little sailboat we passed earlier, tacking its way upstream. If you're a kid on that boat, I should imagine it's a wonderful experience. You'll see all sorts of people using the river. It's not just sort of the sailboats. You've got the little powerboats, people going to and from their sailboats. You've got people in canoes, kayaks, all sorts of things. On a day like this, it's a surprising number of people you find on the river. Now we're they're just beginning to come back towards Fowey. You just see the start of the houses there on the right, and equally you'll just see the Bodinnick Ferry loaded up with vehicles heading over to Bodinnick. It's not quite a full load there. They can get 3 lanes of vehicles on there. I think there's probably a few places spare at the back. Yeah, but on a crossing on a day like this, it's quite pleasurable. Not so, I should imagine, if it's a howling gale in mid-October or February. I suppose it get a bit treacherous at times. The ferry does run mostly throughout the year, but if there is extreme weather, then obviously they cancel the sailings. Safety obviously comes first. Just see the Du Maurier house from a distance there, and a better view of the landings area for the ferry. Now we're back looking at the right hand side of the river and Fowey as we head down. They've got the main sort of street that passes around. Is again, I'm saying the 2 rows of houses. Pretty much that's it. There's nothing really behind those. A lot of the houses obviously have been built around the sort of Victorian era when the railways sort of came to town and people found the place and found the beauty of it, and tourism expanded. Most houses now have been sort of redeveloped. There's obviously quite a few people live here, but there's obviously a lot of holiday homes here which are let out to people so that we can all enjoy a piece of it. And there we go. There's a kayak passing upstream. As I say, it's still a working town, which is good. It's not one of those just simple tourist attraction places. It does have a life of its own. I think someone needs to come back and empty his rowing boat there. It's a bit low in the water. Yeah, we're heading now down towards the mouth of the river. We'll be passing at the moment. We're passing the harbour master's office on the right hand side, heading down towards the town quay again. As we get nearer the mouth of the river, obviously the swell tends to pick up a little bit, although nothing by seaman standards, I'm sure. Over the other side there, you can see there's Polruan. That's much more. You can see it sort of rises with houses right up the hill there. Various assortment of houses from sort of 2-bed fishermen's cottages right through to the 5 or 6 bedroom luxury houses. And it still has its own working dockyard over there as well, which seems to be pretty busy every time we come here. There's always ships coming in and out on a regular basis, which is good for the local employment. You see we're catching a bit of a swell here, either from the wash of another boat or that's gone up earlier. The sails on the mast there wobbling around a bit. Now Clive's talking to us a little bit about the blockhouse forks at the entrance to the Fowey. There was one on the right hand side, one on the left hand side there, which is just pointed to. Uh, Originally, these had a big chain between them, which could be raised to prevent our French counterparts entering the harbour, which has happened before. And if you look out to the distance there, you've got St Catherine's Point. That's a later fort. And in front of that, there's actually a platform which did house anti-aircraft guns during the war, because Fowey being, a port, a harbour, was the target of Luftwaffe attacks. You see that side is actually ruined. Most of that is actually fallen away into the sea. And then just passing out, just we're about to turn, is actually Ready Money Cove, which beach, I think, is actually the best term for it. It's actually quite a nice, safe beach there for people families to enjoy bathing. It's quite sort of a gentle slope there. And the little pontoons actually sort of keep power craft out and also sort of indicate where it's safe to actually swim up to. Again, we've got the fort there at St Catherine's Point. You'll see us now start to kick around with just a quick view out into St Austell Bay. On a good day, I've been told you can see beyond the headland there over to the Lizard. I'd say it was a most pleasurable trip on the steam launch. It was quite relaxed. Obviously, Clive, the captain there, making quite a few little adjustments. After all, it's a steam engine that, like most of these things, they tend to have a life of their own. And as you see, one of the bigger houses with splendid views out towards the St Austell's Bay, and also probably on the other side towards Polruan and upstream. And also there, just to the left of that, the fort, the blockhouse on Polruan side. So it's always a busy river with pleasure craft going up and down. As we head back upstream, we'll cut close to the fort there on the right hand side, and then we'll turn to the right and head in towards Polruan and see a better glimpse of that before heading back to the quay. The weather here, as you can see, was absolutely fantastic. Just a gentle breeze. I think the temperature was probably in mid-20s. It was June. Actually, I think it was the first time that Gallant had actually come out for the summer season. As you can see, there's some money's worth up there. Obviously, that house has seen a bit of redevelopment work. I don't think it was like that before. I think that's had a re-roof and a hot umpteen number of changes. And obviously, they're doing a lot of work to the garden there as well, by the looks of it. Yes, as you can see, there's a lot of earth there where it's obviously been dug over and retaining walls put up, etc. There's the end of the blockhouse and the little bit of rock promontory from that. A person there having a go at fishing. Never seen anybody catch any fish from there though. As we come around the corner, you'll see that the development of properties here. This actually used to be a a boathouse, the old boathouse I think it was called. And obviously this has been a fairly recent development within the last 20 years, I should imagine. You can just see as we come round the slipway there, which runs up to the wall, and that would have actually gone into the shed, so the smaller boats could have actually been hauled in or slipped down there back into the water. There's a church over there, just roughly mid-centre at the moment. That's actually our private house, or private residence, I should say. There is actually a church in Polruan which still has services, so it's still a very active community. There's still a lot of community spirit there. I had a chat with the vicar while I was looking at the headland house garden, which is well worth a view, and very amenable person. You can see the steam engine still plugging away there, reliable as clockwork that is. Although I'm sure Clive can probably recount a few stories of things that have happened to it in the past. As we pass along, we've got a dredger. He's tied up at the moment at the fuel pontoon. I think he was actually digging out some of, or dredging out some of the build-up of silt there, so that some of the large vessels can get in at all times, whether it's high tide or low tide. See, just Polruan as we sort of turn away from it now. The dockyard just onto the left there with the cranes, etc. And we're now heading back upstream before we actually cut back over towards the dock. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the trip.